sent over some fascinating research about astronauts and how being in space can affect their sense of smell. And I was thinking, this is like super spacey stuff, right?
Yeah.
But then I realized it totally applies to everyone, even here on Earth.
You got it.
So basically, being cooped up can seriously mess with how we perceive smells and even influence our food cravings.
It's true. It really highlights the connection between our environment and our senses.
And you know what else blew my mind?
What's that?
This study from RMIT University. They used VR to actually simulate the International Space Station.
Yeah, they're doing some pretty cool stuff over there.
I know, right? Super high tech.
Almost all the aromas were perceived way more intensely in that confined VR space.
Really?
Yeah, it's like being in a small room just cranks up your sense of smell.
Oh, wow.
Your mood plays a huge role in how you perceive these smells, too.
Really?
If you're happy, you might smell things like almonds or even vinegar even more intensely.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about when you're stressed? Does everything just smell awful?
Actually, it's kind of the opposite. When you're stressed, those same smells, especially something pungent like vinegar, it can actually become much less noticeable. If we know our environment and emotions are messing with our senses, could we actually use that knowledge to make eating more enjoyable or even influence our food choices?
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
Especially for people in situations where they might be feeling isolated.
Exactly.
Those in nursing homes or even just folks stuck at home.
You got it.
They could totally benefit from this.
Absolutely.
So they're basically creating a whole sensory lab to study how we experience food in different environments.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Wow, imagine being able to use this technology. This has huge implications for so many people.
Absolutely. Think about the dining experience in nursing homes, for example.
Yeah.
If we understand how their environment affects their senses, we could create meals that are more appealing and enjoyable.
Okay, we've talked about how confinement and our mood can change how we smell things. But what about taste?
Ah, good point.
The study mentioned that astronauts often say food tastes different in space. How does this research help explain that? But in space, especially on long missions, it's a totally different story.
It can be very solitary, and you're stuck with limited food choices day after day.
That makes a lot of sense. And if your sense of smell is already heightened because of the confinement, and your emotions are in the mix too,
Yeah.
it's no wonder that food might taste different too.
It's like the whole experience is out of whack.
Totally.
And the implications of this go way beyond space travel. Understanding how confinement and emotions influence our sensory experience could help us create more enjoyable and even therapeutic food experiences for people here on Earth, too.
Okay, this is all so fascinating, but I think we need a moment to process all this.
Yeah, let's take a break.
When we come back, let's dive into the potential applications of this research and what it could mean for all of us.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned. I love it. But we were talking about how this research applies to folks here on Earth too, right?
Absolutely.
Not just astronauts.
Right, we talked about nursing homes earlier.
Uh-huh.
Imagine applying these findings to create dining experiences that are more stimulating and enjoyable for the elderly.
Especially those who might be experiencing a decline in their senses of smell and taste.
Exactly. Loss of appetite and malnutrition are serious issues for many seniors. So if we could use aromas or other sensory tricks to make their meals more appealing,
It can make a huge difference.
it could have a significant impact on their quality of life. Huge.
If we're talking about manipulating people's senses, even if it's for a good cause, doesn't that raise some ethical concerns?
That's a really important point. You're right, we need to be very mindful of the ethical implications as we explore these possibilities.
For example, we need to make sure that any sensory interventions are used responsibly
Absolutely.
and with the full consent and understanding of the individuals involved.
This research could help us create more engaging and enjoyable food experiences for everyone, regardless of their circumstances.
It's amazing to think that something as simple as paying attention to our senses
Right.
and how they're affected by our surroundings could have such a profound impact on our well-being.
It really underscores the importance of creating environments that support our sensory needs.
Whether it's at home, in a healthcare setting, or even in the workplace.
It all matters.